All right, y'all, we back at it with another real versus fake. We should be able to finish this off within 10 minutes. Um, these are the Jordan 5 Tokyos, releasing in a couple weeks. My pair came from Japan, thankfully. I kind of wanted it to come from Japan. I thought that was pretty cool. But aside from that, though, we're going to go ahead and do this comparison. Let's start off with the boxes quickly here. Authentic on the right, Rep on the left. You can already see there's a size difference on the boxes. These are both size 12, of course. One thing I wanted to call out here when it comes to the label on the box. Well, first off, let's go ahead here. We'll get the lettering. Nike Air, Nike Air. Nike Air is obviously bigger here. It's a bit smaller there. We got the stickers here. Air Jordan made in China. Made in China. They got all that other stuff right. Now, here's what I noticed is interesting. I don't know if this is done on purpose in the factories. But one thing I noticed was looking here, a lot of the Nike labels, a lot of times, they're not like the Rep labels where they're just flat and perfect, right? There's always a air pocket. You know what I'm saying? You see that little bump here? Like that happens a lot. I've just noticed that on a lot of the authentic pairs. Y'all can let me know in the comments as well if you have, but I just wanted to bring that up. But they did get the UPC right on the Rep down low. So in other words, you scan it on StockX or something, it's going to pull up. So again, they're getting more and more trickier with this stuff, guys. We'll have a look at the bottom of the box, as we see here. And again, yeah, the ink work and so forth, a little bit lackluster on the Rep versus popping more on the authentic. Jumpman's more like a fire red Jumpman here. Okay, they got the text and all that correct in the sense of what the words and everything. That's all correct. It's just a bit of a dull color and so forth. So let's move forward inside the boxes quickly. Trash can paper. Here's your divider. Same here. That's the authenticity from Sneaker Dunk. Here's your divider. Trash bag paper. Let's see if the dividers. Now, dividers are roughly the same size. It's a little bit shorter on the Rep, which makes sense because the box is smaller. And we do got a YDM sticker down low here on the authentic, and we got one here on the Rep. So they're paying attention to a lot of details, guys. Now let's get into the shoes. Okay, guys, so here we are with the shoes. We have the authentic to the right, Reps to the left. If you haven't noticed yet, but maybe you can notice it now that you're looking, you see we got a bit more of a darker, a yellow, more pronounced on the authentic to the right versus here. It's a bit dull, a little bit lackluster, right? And just keep in mind, this Rep by itself probably wouldn't know the difference. I'm being very truthful, and this is not to support Reps like that. It's just the honest truth, guys. Like in these comparisons, we're going to be able to knock things out. But when these shoes are by themselves, very difficult just to, oh, that's a Rep, that's an authentic. But anyway, back to it. Let's start off with the right shoe here. We got the number 23 here. And let's see here, as we do here as well. They both have the 23 stitched in. Let's see, toe boxes are nearly identical. Authentic to the right is just a little bit bigger, not by much. Stitching, a little bit more pronounced here on the authentic to the right versus the Rep to the left. Let's look here. Typically on the Rep tongues, usually they're just a little bit bigger than the authentics sometimes. Now, these shoes, the authentic Jordan 5s typically do come tightly tied versus the Reps where they're a little bit looser. Now, I believe the tongues, that's why it's a little different here looking at the tongue. But yeah, that authentic tongue is pretty big. And having a look here at the Rep, they're pretty similar. The Rep could be a hair bigger, but very, very hard to tell. Jumpman is a lighter color versus the authentic, if you're unable to see that through the camera. Also, the pronunciation here of the divisions here. Oh wow, okay, so that's pretty major. And what I mean is, here they're like penciled in. The line, the dividers are there, right? I'm trying to get you guys to be able to see that, right? Versus the authentic, you see the difference? Huge difference on that. Okay, having a look at the sock liners, nearly identical. Authentic sock liners a little bit darker gray versus, or black, if I think it's more of a darker gray versus the authentic replication here on the left. Let's have a look at the air units again, nearly identical, just a little bit smaller on the rep to the left versus the authentic to the right. Again, we definitely got a color contrast between the yellow or gold on the authentic to the right versus the rep to the left. Caging, near identical. It's true. Little bit overscaled here on the rep. They nearly even pretty much one-to-one close the caging here colors. So, sometimes the reps could be too dark caging, sometimes it could be a lot lighter. But here it looks like they matched it up. I'm pretty confident they actually got the shoe, to the authentic shoe, to deconstruct. Let's see here now. Some transition on the authentic here, but more transition, as you could see, on the rep. It's just, like I said, the color is just of a lighter yellow or gold. The gray, again, on the eye stays here, they're identical. They are. One's not really darker than the other. Let's see here now the stitching. They did get the stitching correct as well, the color gold. Now looking at the toe boxes, as you can see here, again, very similar. The rep to your left here is just a little bit more wider, right? A little oval. But this is close. I think they call this particular version Y3 Factory. Looking at the shark teeth here. Again, close. The rep is darker though. Let's look at the outsoles. Again, nearly one-to-one. Authentic on the right, rep on the left. Nearly one-to-one. They got the colors down, the gray. Like, there's not one darker than the other. It's crazy. They're both translucent with that light bluish tint in person. Jumpman's a little bigger on the authentic here to the right. And it's a darker gold here on the replication. And let's see. Man, these are close. So the hump here is a little bit bigger, more pronounced than it is here on the authentic. And let's look at the rears. Authentic on your left. We got the rep to the right. Again, a little bit off center here. But the Jumpman on the authentic, yeah, it is cleaner. In all fairness, yeah, it does look better per se. Let's see. They both nearly look to be the same size as well. And let me push in a little bit. And again, you can see where there's a little bit of the overscaling. You see it's like a bigger stitch pattern up here versus the authentic to the left. And now let's get into the other shoes. And we up out of here. Well, we'll take a look at the internal insoles as well. Again, looking at the lace locks, definitely identical. Authentic is going to be on the left, rep to the right. Toe boxes, again, nearly identical. Look at that. Like, to be fair, they're nearly identical. And look at that, caging, nearly identical. The color gray of the lace waffles and stuff, they're pretty much matching. Yeah, not really much of a color difference. Tongues again. Let's see the rep here. Got a little kink there. Authentic, got a little kink there. So there's kinks going across this stuff, guys, whether it's a rep or authentic. Here we go. Again, you see the lighter gold there, darker gold here, smaller air unit on the rep, larger on the authentic. Again, these are both size 12. Let's see here. Let's look at the rears. Again, looking at the Jumpmans. Again, nearly identical. But yeah, that Jumpman head ain't looking too cute there. But again, it's just not as sharp. That's the term I'll use. It's not as sharp of a Jumpman stitched in there versus the authentic to the right. And again, some structure differences here. Again, a little bit wider of a cut on the structure of the actual replication. Let's look at the Air Jordan. Air Jordan. Yeah, and again, we got the minor color tone difference in the sock liner here. A little bit of a darker gray on the authentic versus the rep on your left or left, I should say. Ooh, my Band-Aid almost coming off. Yeah, your Bob was cutting some onions for dinner and got himself good. But anyway, almost there, guys. Okay, again, like I said earlier, we got a darker Jumpman on the rep to the left versus the Authentic to the right. The grays nearly match color in person. Might be a little different here on the screen, but definitely color in person is spot on. Crazy work, guys. Crazy, crazy work. And let's just, what the heck, let's have a look at the insole real quick. Let me pull the rep out. Looks like I got a Jordan 11 insole in there. There we go. Doesn't say Dream Cell or nothing like that. Let's have a look at the Authentic insole. There we go. Yep, OF8 MS12M. Here it says MS12J, which is interesting. And this Authentic says 12M. Let's see here. It's supposed to say 23. They did a good job on this insole, except, yeah, the black on the Authentic here to the right is a darker, richer color tone. Gold is a little bit more of a richer color tone. Let's see. Yeah, this one says Tokyo 23 Special District on this one. And that's it. But again, nothing way out of whack or anything like that. But just for the sake of it, let me pull out this insole. I want to compare that lettering there, that Tokyo spelling and stuff. I want to compare it to the Authentic insole just to see if the text is cleaner and so forth on the Authentic. And we're going to be up out of here. Here we go. Authentic, and it is. I could tell immediately. Yeah, so yeah, there's a print difference as far as the quality goes. But again, is what it is. Yeah, so it's a smaller, Tokyo 23 is smaller, Special District. Here, you see how District runs off? It shouldn't do that. That's a good authentication tactic for this. Let me have a look at the footbed. Authentic is using black stitching on the footbed, and so is the rep. So, scary stuff, guys. We got stamped in there, of course, on the Authentic, and we do have a stamp as well on the rep here, if you can see that. And we're going to leave it at that, y'all. Thanks for hanging out with your boy. Let me know in the comments what you think. Y'all know what it is. We out.